We back with another episode of the Bench Mob Podcast, another installment here with my man Miles. Already know. You feel me? This is still not worried in the building, hosting, setting everything up. It was a jam-packed NFL weekend. It's great to be a avid watcher of NFL this season. It's been some really good games. I'm a fan of the NFL, not any specific teams anymore. We're gonna recap the Bengals-Jags games. Joe Burrow gets his first career win, 3 straight 300-yard games, 33-25. Takeaways from the Bengals-Jags game.
I mean, Joe Burrow's the real deal. He was the number one pick for a reason, and he's showing it. And they have some talent on this team. They have Joe Mixon, who had a good game. They have Tyler Boyd, who's a good receiver. T. Higgins. All these guys were playing well. And, I mean, the Jaguars had some guys play well, like DJ Chark. He had a good game, and Minshew. But, I don't know. This team is not really built to win games. And, I mean, it was good to see Joe Burrow get his first win.
What's your thoughts on A.J. Green real quick? He hasn't really been showing up so far this season.
I don't know if he's still hurt because he got hurt in training camp, but he just hasn't looked good. He hasn't looked like himself. So this is probably going to be his last year. I mean, it's almost a guaranteed fact he's not coming back next year. But, I mean, it was good while it lasted. It's just coming to an end and not like one that people can be happy about because of the injuries that he's had to deal with.
Hopefully, he gets back healthy this season. We see a resemblance of A.J. Green from the past. Bucks Chargers 38-31 comeback win. Brady throws 4 touchdowns, a running touchdown, 5 total TDs for Brady. Takeaways from that game: are we seeing the old Brady to stay now? Is Brady back?
We'll see. That was a good game. It was a nail biter for some reason. They're fighting with the Chargers, who. Well, let me not talk bad about the Chargers. They did play well. They've been playing well. This Herbert kid is pretty good. He was going toe-to-toe with Tom on Sunday, but Tom was that was the best he's played all year. So hopefully he keeps it going the rest of the way.
In regards to Herbert, do you think with Tyrod Taylor coming back, how are they going to go about that? Because it wasn't Tyrod's fault. The
It
Chargers
wasn't.
right here.
It wasn't, but I mean the offense with Tyrod was kind of slow and methodic, and they didn't really do much with him at quarterback. So it's not like it was a hard decision to make. And I don't think it's a hard decision to make. You drafted him with the 6th pick this year. You're going to put him in at some point. It's not like Tyrod's the future of the team. And he's playing well right now. So why are you going to mess up that chemistry he has with these receivers that Tyrod his playing style as a quarterback, he's never going to have that type of chemistry with them because he's not the type to really push it down the field. You saw on Sunday, Justin Herbert, he had like 2 or 3 like 50-yard bomb touchdowns that he threw. So I think Tyrod, is unfortunate that he had to lose his job the way he did, but you can't really hate on the kid because he's balling right now.
I think the kid keeps his job, and I think the Chargers are in for a lawsuit. I think that's how that's going to go.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Browns, Cowboys, everybody predicted this would be a shootout, and that it was 49-38. Odell had 3 touchdowns, a great pass by Jarvis Landry. It seems like the Browns are in rhythm over these last couple of games of their offense. Granted, it is the Cowboys who give up points to everybody and yards to everybody, so I don't know how much we can look into this, but takeaways from this Browns-Cowboys game.
One, I know you're a Cowboys fan, but you just won't say it. You're hiding right now. It's cool, but takeaways, the Cowboys defense might as well not put anybody out there. They'd probably stop the same amount of people. But I don't know. this team's defense is what's going to hold them back because the offense is legit. Like Dak is doing what he can, but he can't keep playing from behind every game. Like the defense just doesn't make stops. That's it. Like even Baker had a couple nice throws that I don't know. It's just it doesn't look good because the Cowboys should be 0-4. Let's be real. Like the Falcons choked. That might have been worse than the Super Bowl. It's up there, but they have that one win, and every other game they've gotten pretty much blown out in. So we'll see. But it's not looking good. The defense, they could probably use Earl Thomas right now because, once again, he's still out there.
Do you think, granted, they've been playing a lot from behind, do you think they try to get rid of Zeke, trade him? Because they haven't been using him really. 12 rush attempts this past weekend. I think 12, maybe 15 at most. They're always from behind, so you can't even use Zeke. Do you try to trade bait for a defensive piece?
Trade bait. Why would we trade Zeke? He's basically the whole offense when they're not down by 30. Like they're running it most of the times. He's the one who takes it down the field and finishes at the goal line. So you can't really trade a guy that good. I just think that they need to – I mean, they're talking about firing the defensive coordinator, but I don't know how much good that'll do for the team. Like I said, Earl Thomas is out there. That might help shore up the secondary a little bit. I know some guys are hurt right now, but no excuses right now. You just got to go each week and try to win. But Cowboys, they're not going to win that many games if the defense is like this.
Hey, the great thing that the Cowboys have going for them, they're right now second place with that terrible record because the NFC East is the worst division in the league. In regards to the Browns, we'll see how they do next week against the top-rated Indianapolis Colts. Let's see if, Odell and Landry and Baker Mayfield are able to produce against an actual defense. Next game, Chiefs, Pats. Of course, everybody expected the Chiefs to win. There was no Cam Newton due to COVID. Chiefs won 26-10, but it was 6-3 at halftime. Did the Patriots, maybe give a blueprint of how to possibly slow down the Chiefs on offense, or was this just Chiefs got in their own way?
I think they got in their own way. I think for the most part they were driving easily down the field on the Patriots, but they just couldn't put a touchdown on the board. They had those 2 field goals, and it was a slow game in the first half. So that's kind of what Bill Belichick's theory to stopping Mahomes is slowing the game down and making them play at their pace. But if you don't have a good quarterback, you can't really do much. Like Hoyer was awful. Stidham was worse. Cam's out right now, so they were never going to win the game. But they do have, I guess, a blueprint to slowing them down. It's just like slow the game down. You're not going to outshoot the Chiefs. But if you can make it a battle, like wear the defense down a little bit, give Mahomes different looks, then, yeah, they're not going to score as many points. But the Chiefs, they're the favorites right now, honestly. They make it look easy, and this defense is good. They might repeat Mahomes.
I think they're definitely one of the favorites, but I think in this situation, like this game, if they had Cam, we might be talking about, the Patriots pulled out a win. Shout out to Belichick we keep seeing throughout this year just how much, he still is a great coach even without Tom Brady. He's able to come up with these game plans, and it's not as much talent on that defense. So maybe a team with more talent on defense, maybe later on in the season knocks off the Chiefs. I don't think they go undefeated. I choose the field before they go undefeated, just because how hard it is to win in the NFL, as we can see with the Falcons, who are struggling to get anything done. So it's not that easy to get wins in the NFL, especially with a target on your back being the Kansas City Chiefs. COVID has broke out tremendously this past week. 20 players and staff members at the Titans had COVID positive tests. Does this cause any concern for you in regards of the NFL finishing the season, or are we looking at something like MLB where they had the spike and then everything was good since then?
I just think that the players just have to kind of follow the protocol, and that's you kind of can't really do too much and be around too many people because it puts you at risk, that puts the team at risk, and as you can see, that can wipe out a whole week for a team. And it almost put the second game in jeopardy, but I think they've had a couple days with no positive tests, so that's good. But I don't think it's going to stop the league. Like, everybody knew something like this would probably happen, especially it's different than what you see with the bubble and the NBA because they're in one place. You can't really do that with 32 teams. So it's a risk. You take that risk. That's why they let you have extra guys on the practice squad to call up in situations like this. So they're not – this is all about money. They're not going to stop over a few tests. No, none of the other teams have any positive tests, so the show goes on. That's it.
I think it'll be the same thing. They'll have it under control, like the MLB. We had the spikes, and then everything was, on the up and up from there. I still think, my opinion, that they should have figured out some way to do a bowl, but it is the NFL. And out of all the leagues, every league is trying to make money, but the NFL is the one league where I wouldn't trust that they actually care about the players as much as the money. So we'll see how that goes. We have 4 winless teams left. Falcons, the Giants, Texans, and the Jets all are 0-4. Who do you see possibly turning this around or getting their first win?
I mean, only team I see is the Texans. I mean, they made a good move and fired Bill O'Brien, who single-handedly just destroyed a playoff team by trading away pieces for nothing. You bring in David Johnson, who he's okay, but he's not on the level of a DeAndre Hopkins. And that combo of him and Deshaun was supposed to be around for the next 10 years, but then he just didn't feel like paying him. That was his excuse, but it was all to get Deshaun signed, and that was the only goal. But he needs pieces around him. Like, Deshaun's really good, but if he doesn't have any pieces to throw to or nobody blocking for him, he's not really going to be effective. But, I mean, all those other teams that you named are pretty bad, so I don't think they're going to win before the Texans do.
I'm going to give you the matchups for this next week coming up, week 5. Jets play Arizona. The Falcons play the Panthers. Texans play the Jags, and the Giants play Dallas. My pick is actually the Giants will get a win this week coming up. I feel
disrespectful.
Feel Daniel Jones.
You're just hating on your team because it's struggling right now. They're not going to lose to the Giants.
That's not my team. But I think Daniel Jones is going to get loose next week.
I've never heard that said in a sentence before. Daniel Jones and loose is not familiar to me.
It's the Cowboys, though, so they've been giving up 500 yards to the little peewee teams around West Orange. I don't believe. I think any offense could get loose on them. I even say the Jets might be able to sneak one out against Arizona. All depending on Hopkins and his.
Sam's not going to play, though. He's not playing. They're not playing him this week. I don't know if I trust Joe Flacco to get a win, so it's not going to be us. We're not going to be the first one to get out of this spot.
You see the Texans beating the Jags next week?
Yeah, the Jags are just as bad, but they got a win already, so they could easily be in that bottom 0-4. But
they're a division rival. They always play tough against each other. Minshew has a little bit more options than Watson. We'll see how
True.
week 5 goes with them. Transitioning into our favorite segment, obviously, the flag on the play segment. Starting off with this one: use condoms resold as new, accept or decline.
Decline. Decline.
Scottie Pippen, the bubble is not NBA basketball. Accept or decline.
I'll accept it because what makes it so different? I mean, of course, there's no fans, there's no like other parts of the atmosphere of a basketball game, but what else do you need besides the 10 people on the court with the couple like two refs? Like it doesn't take that much to have a game, let alone an NBA game. Like they set it up the best way they could to finish the season. They could have scrapped the season, but why do that? They came so far. They basically finished 80% of the year before this hit. So, I mean, I know there was safety protocols, and I haven't heard anybody in the bubble getting the virus. So I think it's a success. It's like the best thing we could have asked for as far as the NBA and bringing sports back.
Yeah, I disagree. I think he's part of some of the people that said they will put an asterisk next to this championship this year. The only asterisk I think you should put by it is just how difficult it was to be in that bubble, away from family, mental health, everything that's going on outside of the bubble with racial injustice. So I think it's basketball, but Scotty has his own opinion on that. Next one. There were some parrots kicked out of the zoo. Parrots were kicked out of the zoo. Accept or decline.
Parents were kicked out of the zoo.
Parrots were kicked out of the zoo.
I'll accept.
So there were some at a zoo. The parrots were kicked out because they learned how to curse. So the parrots were cursing at the visitors that were coming in. And as one parrot cursed, the other one would laugh. So they were just spending time spewing expletives at the people that were coming to the zoo. And they were kicked out of the zoo.
That's kind of funny. I don't mind that one. That's a little interesting. It's not. It must be a slow news day, but it is interesting that
It
that made
happened.
the news.
Yeah,
Where did it happen?
in the UK.
Oh, okay.
So they learned how to do it and then just was on expletives to all the people that were coming. The last one we're going to accept or decline on this one. Pennsylvania lawmakers go topless. Accept or decline.
I feel like it means something totally different, so I'll accept it. I'll accept it.
Pennsylvania lawmakers decided to go topless to warn voters against naked ballots. That's what it was for.
You know what? I wish I passed it. I wish I passed it. I thought it would have been a good story, but that's the craziest thing I've heard.
It's different. It's innovative, creative.
And that's not that far from us, too.
Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
could have drove by and saw that.
Yeah.
That
I
would have
don't
been an
know.
interesting Snapchat post.
Yeah, for sure.
Transitioning, still on the topic of basketball now. Miami was able to pull out game 3. Jimmy Butler without Bam, without Goran Dragic, goes off for a 40-point triple-double. Takeaways from this game, from game 3.
Jimmy Butler. I mean, that's basically all you got to say about game 3 is Jimmy Butler. Like, he took over the game. He didn't back down from Brown, which, I mean, some people have done that in the past, but he went head on with this challenge. Like, Brown was talking trash at the end of the first quarter. We saw that. Jimmy took out his lunch pail and went to work. I mean, that's all you got to say. a triple-double, 40 points. Like, clearly, people slept on Jimmy way too hard for him to go to a team like this, like the Heat. They already were good, borderline good. And now you add Jimmy, who I've always said that he makes teams better that he goes to. Like, he just adds a different element that other guys can't bring. Like, he's always fired up. He's always ready for a challenge. And down 2-0 to the Lakers, that's a challenge right there. So it was a fun game to watch. The runs that kept happening, the Lakers came back and took the lead. But like I said, Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets, went to work. And I'm thinking that tonight that's what LeBron's gonna have to do. He's gonna have to have a game like that to avoid a 2-2 tie in the series. Something that I wasn't expecting. Everybody was saying a sweep. Some
I
said game in 5. But this probably might go to a game 6, I think. It's gonna be that type of series.
So back on Jimmy Butler, right? 40
Mm-hmm.
points without attempting a 3-point. First player to do that since Shaq in 02. His 40-point triple-double is only the third player to do that in the finals outside of Jerry West and LeBron James. Jerry West actually won finals MVP that year in a loss. And he had a plus-minus of positive 20 with 11 rebounds and 13 assists, 2 steals and 2 blocks to go along with that stat line. In regards of finals history, now, I know you're in your early 30s. From your lifetime, how would you rank this finals performance?
Well, you're off by a few years, but I mean, this finals performance it's up there for sure. I mean, with the stakes that were behind this game, like to avoid going down 3-0 to this Lakers team, with all the storylines behind the Lakers right now, but he just he wasn't going to let them win. That's all it came down to. He was he was calling for it at the end. He wasn't taking bad shots either. Like, he was taking his shots at his spots, and it was real Jordan-esque, I'd say. It was real Jordan-esque.
While rocking the Jordans,
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Butler, Jim Jordan, signature player. Bam is supposed to be playing this game 4. Jimmy was able to do this without Bam. With Bam, you mentioned it might go 6. How do you feel with Bam coming back? Jimmy, do you think tonight they'll be able to pull out a game 4?
It's possible, just because Bam is a huge piece on defense. Like, with him out, AD was going crazy in game 2. He didn't do much in game 3, but like, you need Bam out there to play defense on AD. Like, he's the only guy athletically who could play defense on him on the Heat right now. So I think it does help them a lot. It just, how healthy is he? That's what I want to know, because he could be coming back just because it's the finals and he doesn't want to just sit on the sideline while his team is struggling, which might have happened this game if they had no Bam. So why not give it a shot?
I think it'll help them out, but I still see Lakers winning this one, Lakers in 5. I see this being a game where LeBron comes out, puts a stamp on the game from the beginning to the end. I see 30 plus, probably 8 plus assists, 10 boards, a couple of his signature blocks pinning it on the backboard. So I see that being this game. He left the court early. You could tell he was pissed. He didn't like how the Lakers showed up. He didn't like also, obviously, how the refs were calling the game with AD in foul trouble early in the game. With AD's performance, I've heard a lot of people debating it now. They still believe Lakers are going to win, but with AD's performance, is it a lock and go that LeBron is getting Finals MVP now, depending on how he plays tonight?
I mean, I think in every finals that Bron plays in, if his team's gonna win, 90 5% of the time he's going to win Finals MVP. So all he needs is a couple triple doubles or near triple doubles, and it's his for the most part.
Yeah, I see LeBron getting the Finals MVP. I think them losing actually helps, the narrative of it was so easy for Bron. Like, it was too easy. And if he loses, though, it's the end of the world. So he's in a lose-lose situation this year,
Yeah.
regardless. Transitioning, though, to one of his former teammates, Kyrie Irving. We've talked about it. Got some of our followers to get their opinions on it. What's your take on Kyrie's comments? You feel it was shade at Bron, and how you feel about if you're Steve Nash? How do you feel about his comments as the new head coach?
I mean, how could you not take those comments as if they were directed at Bron? Because it's like, who of your other teammates did we actually believe you had confidence in them at the end of the game? Like, nobody really. Maybe Tatum, but that's about it. Because those Cavs teams before Bron were trash. Like, it's clearly, it feels like a shot at Bron, which, I mean, the timing is a little off because it's the finals and Bron's here. So I don't know. I don't know what he was trying to get out of that comment. If he was just trying to hype up KD, like saying that he's his favorite, like, crunch time guy. I don't know what he was trying to do, but yeah, I don't know how you can't take that as a shot at Bron. And then the Steve Nash comments were just, how do you make those comments before, like, the season even finishes, before the season even starts? You're like already saying, yeah, everybody's going to be coaching this team, really. We're going to coach together. And it's like, all right, well, that puts a lot of confidence in Steve Nash as the head coach, that he knows what he's doing, which he probably doesn't fully know what he's doing right now. It's going to take a while. It's his first year coaching period. It's a learning curve. So there's some truth to what Kyrie's saying, but it's just comments you can't really say. You're not really going to want to say that. You're going to want to try to boost your coach up, not kind of, take him down a little bit in the media.
Yeah, he basically said it would be a collaborative effort. I think he even mentions in the podcast with KD that he can be impulsive when he speaks. So I think this is one of those times. I just think it sucks in the media aspect. I mean, this is what sells, so you had to expect it. But within that interview, he also talks about, how he's helped the indigenous people, how he started the fund for the WNBA players.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not getting talked about. That's obviously being overshadowed by these comments, which it kind of just sucks because he's been doing a lot he's an intelligent person. He's been doing a lot. It seems like you feel like he's a good person at heart. But sometimes, like, I didn't agree with, his viewpoint of the media was pinning brothers against brothers. This is something that you said. The media didn't pin you against anybody. We had no choice to believe that was talking about Bron. You feel me? So nobody thought that was shot at Anderson Varejao or Boobie Gibson, or nobody was thinking about those people as being a possible option outside of Bron. I think it's a way that you go about bigging up KD without taking a dump on Bron. I wouldn't go as far as Perkins calling him a bona fide hater, but the timing is very, very sus, to say the least. Regarding Steve Nash, we'll see what happens with that, man. It really might end up being a collaborative effort this first year. I don't think that's something that you say, though.
No, not at all. Like, not this early, and not right now, because all the focus, whatever message you wanted to get across later in the interview and all that other stuff probably was great. But when you say stuff like this off kilt like that, it kind of puts a sour taste on everything else that you're saying, because that's all people are going to hear is that one clip, that one comment. Nobody's going to listen to other stuff that you're talking about. They're just gonna zoom in on the maybe minute and a half that he talked about this. So I mean, it's unfortunate, but Kyrie just seems to do this all the time, where he has comments like this, and they get misconstrued. Like I'd say Kyrie's probably the most misunderstood NBA player right now because everything he says probably gets taken out of context. But it's always it comes down to how you word things.
Yeah, we'll see how the season goes. I think it's a lot of talking to, being that they have yet to play a game. So I'd
Yeah,
hope that
that
they
too.
are able to back this up. The other debate that people were going back and forth with: do you feel KD is actually more clutch than Bron? And a lot of people throw out the stats. Bron actually has in the playoffs more game winners than Kobe and Jordan put together.
I mean, I don't think it's a debate right now. I mean, it's cool what KD did with the Warriors, although, the obvious people are going to come in and say it was with the Warriors, though. But he had clutch moments with them. But Bron's been doing this with guys you can name and guys who probably the next year were in Russia. So it comes down to the importance of it. I think some of Bron's shots have been a little bigger, in my opinion. Like lately, he's a lot more clutch than he was early on in his career. But yeah, Bron's definitely had a lot more clutch moments than KD.
Yeah, I think that's just the narrative that people have been trying to sell with Bron. Because, like you said, early in his career, he probably would not attempt to shoot the shot, but you can't say that now at this point. He's proven himself, especially that last year in Cleveland, the last couple years in Miami, the big shots after big shots. Yeah, nah, I don't think you could say that. As we said, it really just was a shot at Bron. Another thing that happened during this that kind of got overshadowed because of all of this talk, because of Jimmy Butler doing his thing. Doc Rivers got hired. He was not on the free agent market that long. He got hired to the Sixers. Your thoughts? Is this a good hire for them? Is this a good fit?
It's definitely better than D'Antoni, who I heard rumors about before, but I'm glad that this basically fell into their lap because Doc's a good coach. Although you should get a knock for what happened this year because that team's too good to get knocked in the semifinals. Like, I'm sorry, but that's like a fireable offense. There's no dancing around it. So, but Doc's a good coach. I mean, he showed it in Boston, showed it in LA because they were always competitive for the most part. And it gives them an opportunity to evaluate Ben and Embiid one more time with a different coach, see if that coach was just not good for them as a combo. And if not, then they know probably who they're going to keep and who they're going to trade. So that's what it comes down to.
Now, on the rumor mill, they're saying that one of the rumors out there is that Doc Rivers is thinking about trading Simmons to the T Wolves to get that first pick and draft LaMelo. Do you like that possibility of putting LaMelo with Joel Embiid?
I hope it's fake news. I would hope so because I don't know if I'm trading Ben Simmons for LaMelo Ball at this point. Like he's a bigger, stronger, more athletic version, I guess. Like he runs the point himself at his size. So it's like, what are you really doing? Like, what are you trying to do? If that rumor is true, like, what are you trying to do with this team? Like, you're gonna put a playoff team in the hands of a 19-year-old rookie? That doesn't make sense, especially with a new coach, Doc Rivers, who's not coming here to be mediocre. They're coming here for the top spot in the East. I'm not trading Ben Simmons for the number one pick. They're gonna have to give up way more than than that. You might have to give up D Russ too.
I'm thinking I'm going to be intrigued, though, to see what type of style offense that Doc Rivers is going to run. I think we could definitely say so far his coaching career, he hasn't had anybody like Joel Embiid. You know, it's been DeAndre Jordan, who's not really a post, get buckets inside without dunking. What you had, Montrezl Harrell, Zubac. So I'm intrigued to see what type of offense he'll be running with this Sixers team currently constructed if there's no trades or anything that happens. I don't think that would be the best trade. I like LaMelo, but I don't think
I do too, but not for that.
I don't think that would be the best decision. You give it one more year with Simmons and Embiid. Speaking of his old team, though, before we close out, just talking on them, who do you think is going to fill that position? Like, I think it's a little bit wearisome to me that they're letting Ty Lue and Sam Cassell go out interviewing. So it's obvious they're not trying to keep them in-house anymore. It looks like they might clear house. So who do you think comes into that squad?
I don't know, because Ty Lue just made the most sense. Like, he was already there. He's already a champion with the Cavs. He's coached big name guys and guys with egos, so that would be a plus too. So I don't know why they're letting him take interviews. He should have been hired maybe a week after Doc got fired, but I don't know. There's no clear candidate. It could be the same thing with the Steve Nash thing, where nobody heard anything about it, and then just a random candidate gets hired. It could be that way, but I just think it makes too much sense to hire Ty Lue. So usually when things make sense, they do the opposite.
I think they clear house. I'd like to see what they're going to do with the roster. I don't think Harrell's coming back. I don't think they're going to sign him back. I don't think they're going to they might not even bring Lou Will back. So I'm very intrigued to see how the Clippers offseason goes this year. For so much that they invested in that team, does Paul George come back, especially of his comments? Ballmer put blank checks to get a chip, and you come out saying that wasn't, the focus or the goal this year. If that's how you felt, maybe we need to, go to a different team. Maybe we send you back to Indiana where that's not the goal or the focus. Because even Ballmer has a arena coming for him in Inglewood. You don't do that for a team that's just, let's just make the playoffs. He's expecting championships and trying to change the whole culture for the Clippers organization. But we'll see. I'm intrigued. We got game 4 tonight. Like, I already got Lakers in 5. I feel Braun goes off tonight. But bench mob, we out. Y'all stay safe out there. They're saying that it's supposed to be, an outbreak again with COVID. So please wear your mask, do the social distancing, and just get prepared if you got to get food, whatever the case may be. COVID is still going on. Take it serious. Bench mob, we out. Peace.
Peace.